Hey guys, Moms Against Medical Bullying. I'm reading this book, Silent Spring, and it's pretty fascinating. I just wanted to share a little bit. So, in reading this is really reminding me, or I see a parallel to the V word. I ain't gonna say it because of our censorship that happens here. But and how the scientists view these things that they say can get in us and make us sick. It's like they're trying to, it's like the V's are like kind of like insecticides or something like that they want to give us, so that we ward off the bugs, you know what I mean? Just like the, what they spray on these crops and stuff would, kill the bugs, right? I don't know, I was just seeing a parallel, but anyway, I'm just going to read here for a second. It says, the world of systemic insecticides is a weird world, surpassing the imaginings of the Brothers Grimm, perhaps most closely akin to the cartoon world of Charles Addams. It is a world where the enchanted forest of the fairy tales has become the poisonous forest in which an insect that chews a leaf or sucks the sap of a plant is doomed. It is a world where a flea bites a dog and dies because the dog's blood has been made poisonous, where an insect may die from vapors emanating from a plant it has never touched, where a bee may carry poisonous nectar back to its hive and presently produce poisonous honey. Wow. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hey, stop. So it says, one of the few circumstances that save us from extinction by these insecticides, by this means, is the fact that parathion and other chemicals of this group, which are organophosphates, are decomposed rather rapidly. Their residue is on the crops to which they are applied. Their residues on the crops to which they are applied are therefore relatively short-lived compared with the chlorinated hydrocarbons. However, they last long enough to create hazards and produce consequences that range from the merely serious to the fatal. In Riverside, California, 11 out of 30 men picking oranges became violently ill, and all but one had to be hospitalized. Their symptoms were typical of parathion poisoning. The grove had been sprayed with parathion some 2.5 weeks earlier. The residues that reduced them to retching, half-blind, semi-conscious misery were 16 to 19 days old, and this is not by any means a record for persistence. Some similar mishaps have occurred in groves sprayed a month earlier, and residues have been found in the peels of oranges 6 months after treatment with standard dosages. The danger to all workers applying the organic phosphorus insecticides in fields, orchards, and vineyards is so extreme that some states using these chemicals have established laboratories where physicians may obtain aid in diagnosis and treatment. Even the physicians themselves may be in some danger unless they wear rubber gloves in handling the victims of poisoning. So may a laundress washing the clothes of such victims, which may have absorbed enough parathion to affect her. Guys, does this sound familiar at all? Like, to me, this sounds like the V theory. Okay, well, I have two words that start with V. Let's say the G theory, the G one. Malathion, another of the organic phosphates, is almost as familiar to the public as DDT, being widely used by gardeners in household insecticides, in mosquito spraying, and in such blanket attacks on insects as the spraying of nearly 1 million acres of Florida communities for the Mediterranean fruit fly. It is considered the least toxic of this group of chemicals, and many people assume they may use it freely and without fear of harm. Commercial advertising encourages this comfortable attitude. The alleged safety of malathion rests on rather precarious ground, although, as often happens, this was not yet discovered until the chemical had been used for several years. Malathion is safe only because the mammalian liver, an organ with extraordinary protective powers, renders it relatively harmless. The detoxification is accomplished by one of the enzymes in the liver. If, however, something destroys this enzyme or interferes with its action, the person exposed to malathion receives the full force of the poison. Unfortunately for us all, opportunities for this sort of thing to happen are legion. A few years ago, a team of FDA scientists discovered that when malathion and certain other organic phosphates are administered simultaneously, a massive poisoning results, up to 50 times as severe as would be predicted on the basis of adding together the toxicities of the two. In other words, 1/100th of the lethal dose of each compound